For centuries, the British monarchy has stood as a pillar of continuity, heritage, and a sense of collective identity. Its traditions have been woven into the fabric of the nation, offering a reminder of time-honored ceremonies, elaborate protocols, and the enduring institution of royalty. Yet, every so often, an event arises that shakes the venerable pillars of this royal edifice, leaving both public observers and royal insiders in a state of collective astonishment. In one such extraordinary turn of events, King Charles has chosen to step away from his royal title. This decision, seemingly born of a convergence of private convictions and public pressures, has ignited heated debates and intense curiosity across the globe. How did King Charles arrive at this watershed moment? What dynamics led him to relinquish the station he once seemed destined to uphold? And what does the future hold for a monarchy that has been forced to confront the realities of modern life in a way it rarely has? The first reactions to King Charles's decision were, predictably, a cocktail of disbelief and fervor. Royal watchers, the media, and the public at large struggled to reconcile the image of Charles as the face of established ceremony with a new vision of him stepping away from a role that has defined him for so many years. Some wondered if his choice was motivated by personal longing, a desire to forge a life unencumbered by ceremonial trappings, while others speculated that this step was part of a broader realignment within the monarchy itself, signaling that even the grandest institutions are not immune to the imperatives of changing times. All at once, questions flooded every corner of public discourse. Was this an attempt on King Charles's part to modernize the monarchy from within, or was it evidence of private struggles made public? Could it be a bid to protect his own mental or emotional well-being, or a response to the friction created by competing visions within the royal family? These layers of speculation did little to quell the public's thirst for clarity. Official statements were spare in detail, providing enough information to confirm the essential facts, but leaving ample space for rumors to flourish. Royal correspondents swarmed to glean any hint of hidden motives, turning an already complicated situation into a maze of theories, counter-theories, and endless commentary. For the British monarchy, an institution built on continuity and respect for established protocols, such widespread public questioning was unsettling, to say the least. Monarchs are typically paragons of steadiness, their decisions reflecting slow and deliberate changes rather than abrupt shifts. But King Charles's choice felt strikingly different. Indeed, the monarchy had seldom seen a development so abrupt since the era of the abdication crisis in the early 20th century. What lay behind this monumental decision? To answer that question, one has to consider the remarkable path King Charles traveled before this moment. Born into a life of inherited responsibilities, Charles spent much of his existence knowing he stood in the direct line of succession, bound to the future role of reigning over the country. From his earliest days, the weight of public expectation hovered, guiding his education, shaping his experiences, and dictating the trajectory of his personal life. Though he had passions, environmental causes, organic farming, charitable ventures, those pursuits were often cast in the light of his impending destiny as monarch. When he finally ascended to the throne, it felt like the culmination of everything his life had prepared him for. Yet, as with all human stories, the linear path from heir to sovereign was accompanied by complications. Critics sometimes labeled him overly traditional, while paradoxically, some contended he was too outspoken on modern topics such as architecture or climate change. The public's perception swung between viewing him as a figure well-equipped to guide a venerable institution into the contemporary era, or an out-of-touch royal uncertain of how to connect with an increasingly diverse and skeptical public. His personal relationships became fodder for endless tabloid speculation, adding an extra burden to the already colossal responsibilities that come with wearing a crown. Against this backdrop, King Charles's recent decision to relinquish his title seems less abrupt than it might appear on the surface. He had long walked a tightrope between honoring ancient customs and wrestling with the need to adapt the monarchy to modern values. Perhaps the tension of that balancing act eventually pushed him to make an extraordinary choice, to carve out a role not entirely dictated by protocol, but by personal conviction and an evolving sense of responsibility. For outsiders, the significance of losing the kingly title is immense. Traditionally, a monarch's position is sacrosanct, conferred at the coronation and regarded as a lifetime station. That Charles would choose to renounce or step aside from it, even in part, raised urgent questions about how the monarchy would recalibrate, how it could maintain its aura of continuity and stability once its central figure decided to leave that role behind. Public reaction to King Charles's move illuminated a growing divide in how people view royalty in the 21st century. Some segments of the public, particularly those with a deep attachment to ceremonial monarchy, viewed his decision as a betrayal of ancient customs. They argued that monarchy by nature is a lifetime commitment, an unspoken contract that links the sovereign to the people. Others, however, saw in Charles a figure of modern leadership courage, someone willing to admit that old forms must give way if the institution is to endure. To them, letting go of the burdens of kingship signaled adaptability rather than abandonment, suggesting that the monarchy might yet shift its focus away from pageantry and toward more tangible forms of service and connection with contemporary society. In many respects, the monarchy found itself at a crossroads, confronted by a stark existential question. Could an institution that has thrived for centuries on ceremonial continuity reshape itself substantially enough to remain relevant, especially when its reigning figure has stepped away from the formal symbols of kingship? The monarchy is historically resistant to dramatic change, preferring incremental evolution over radical transformation. However, King Charles's decision thrust it into uncharted territory. Royal advisors and family members scrambled to manage the fallout, balancing a desire to respect Charles's personal autonomy with the need to preserve the monarchy's unifying function. Everyone recognized that the significance of Charles's choice would reverberate far beyond palace walls. The emotional dimensions of Charles's action were no less compelling. For decades, he bore the title of Prince of Wales, then ascended to become king, a station that placed him at the summit of royal responsibility. The public often glimpsed the formalities, his participation in solemn ceremonies, his speeches addressing national causes, his presence at key events. Few, however, witnessed the personal toll of such constant scrutiny. The monarchy thrives on visibility. Every gesture, every word, every choice of attire can become a talking point. For a man of introspective bent, who once showed genuine fervor for quiet pursuits like reading philosophy or planting trees, the day-to-day demands of monarchy were draining on both emotional and intellectual levels. Stepping back might have been an attempt to reclaim a piece of his own identity, an identity that had remained subsumed by ceremony for much of his life. Observers also note that King Charles's choice may have been deeply influenced by the example of others within the family and beyond. Modern royals like William and Catherine have already shown a flair for embracing new forms of outreach, social media, and more casual public encounters, arguably broadening the monarchy's appeal. Might Charles have felt overshadowed by the ease with which the younger generation navigates the digital age, or possibly inspired by the notion that monarchy can be flexible? Moreover, one can't discount the impact of global conversations about mental health, personal fulfillment, and the challenges posed by relentless public gaze. Charles might have wanted to set a precedent, that it's permissible even for royalty to choose personal well-being over unyielding tradition. Speculations aside, the immediate ripple effects were profound. First and foremost, the monarchy's protocols had to be re-examined. If Charles is no longer king in the formal sense, who stands at the helm of the institution? Is the heir presumptive automatically installed, or does a caretaker figure step in, pending formalities? The line of succession is ordinarily a rigid sequence, but Charles's voluntary relinquishment tested that rigidity. Was his departure final or partial, and what does it mean for the global network of Commonwealth realms that once recognized him as their sovereign? These details needed to be clarified promptly to forestall any constitutional vacuum or public confusion. Then there was the challenge of reorganizing official duties. Ceremonial functions, such as the state opening of Parliament, trooping the color, and the distribution of honors, typically center on the reigning monarch. If King Charles was retreating from the front and relinquishing the symbolic scepter, who would assume these duties? Would the monarchy parcel out responsibilities among multiple senior members, or designate a single figure to represent the crown? Each possibility carried its own consequences for power dynamics within the family. Some family members might welcome the chance to have a more prominent role, while others might feel overwhelmed by the additional obligations. One cannot overlook the emotional and political ramifications for those nearest and dearest to Charles. Figures like Queen Camilla, often seen as his staunchest ally, faced the delicate task of supporting his personal decision, while also honoring the monarchy's collective needs. Rose Hanbury's name has long held a special resonance in British aristocratic circles, her life seemingly woven from threads of tradition, legacy, and a hint of quiet rebellion. Born into a respected noble family, she grew up surrounded by elegant homes, genteel gatherings, and an ingrained sense of duty that shaped her formative years. Even as a child, she was known for her thoughtful demeanor and a reserved charm that set her apart in a social sphere where confidence and affability are prized qualities. From a young age, Rose was taught the customs of aristocratic life: when to curtsy, what topics to discuss at the table, how to project grace and warmth without seeming contrived. Yet, beneath those carefully polished manners, she harbored private dreams that extended beyond the gilded confines of Britain's upper crust. Rose was blindsided by the sudden surge in gossip. She had never angled for the spotlight. Indeed, she had spent most of her life avoiding it, preferring the safety of a measured, dignified presence that placed her neither at the center of attention nor so distant that she became a subject of exclusion. To find herself cast as a focal point of tabloid speculation was jarring. At first, she attempted to ignore the murmurs. She believed that by refusing to dignify unsubstantiated rumors with a response, she could starve the story of oxygen. Yet the media's appetite seemed insatiable. Headlines speculated on her every move. If she stood too close to Prince William at a function, it fueled new whispers. If she avoided certain events altogether, tabloids read that as evidence she was hiding from controversy. Friends and advisors advised her on how to handle the situation. Some encouraged her to give a definitive statement denying all wrongdoing, while others insisted that silence was golden in the face of baseless innuendo. Rose struggled with the choice. She valued her privacy deeply, but also felt a moral impetus to defend herself, not just for her own reputation, but for the sake of her family and the people who had always supported her. Each day that passed without a formal statement only seemed to fuel the rumor mill. At the same time, every new rumor or tabloid headline left her feeling more invaded, as if her personal life, so carefully guarded, was being stripped bare for public entertainment. The stress took a toll on her well-being. She found it difficult to sleep, constantly anticipating the next wave of sensational headlines. Her daily routines, once simple and fulfilling, became tinged with apprehension. Even small outings, such as stepping out for tea or running an errand, could be photographed and then dissected. A life of quiet luxury and understated responsibilities mutated into a never-ending battle against a narrative she never signed up for. Adding to the pressure was the knowledge that her association with the royal family magnified every rumor, every small event, into an international news item. The monarchy, bound by centuries of precedent and the tradition of silent dignity, was unlikely to intervene publicly on her behalf, leaving her to navigate the minefield mostly on her own. Moreover, the rumors cast an unwelcome spotlight on her friendship with Kate, a bond that she had valued for its genuine warmth and mutual respect. Now, that friendship was pulled into the tabloid swirl of speculation. Magazines fueled notions of rivalry, betrayal, or tension. In that environment, even an innocuous moment, like being seated at the same table during a charity fundraiser, could be twisted into an entire narrative about forced interactions or veiled hostility. Rose's relationship with Kate was suddenly tabloid fodder, dissected by outsiders who had never witnessed their genuine rapport behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Prince William faced his own share of public scrutiny, yet the monarchy's time-honored strategy of silence prevailed. Those who empathized with Rose acknowledged the impossibility of her position. How do you fight an amorphous cloud of rumors without unwittingly giving them more substance? How do you retain your dignity when every attempt to set the record straight can be misconstrued as proof of guilt? At times, Rose considered issuing a firm denial through official channels. Yet she also feared that stepping forward to battle the tabloids directly would entrench her even further in the public eye, a place she never wanted to be. She made a series of measured choices designed to minimize attention. Invitations to glamorous events went unanswered. She reduced her presence on social platforms, restricting any glimpses the world might have of her day-to-day life. With each retreat, the tabloids pounced, interpreting her withdrawal as evidence she was avoiding Kate or being exiled by the royals. In truth, her decision to step back was more about self-preservation than anything else. She sought refuge among her closest circles. Yet the scandal refused to burn itself out. The story had all the elements the public relished. A supposed love triangle, a glamorous aristocrat, the future king and queen, and an official silence that left imaginative spaces for rumors to flourish. In some corners of social media, she was vilified. In others, she was defended as a victim of tabloid cruelty. Her life's narrative had splintered into countless versions, each retold by people who had never met her.
They were talking, and she was telling the author that unfortunately her husband was doing well, but he won't do what he's told. Now,
for more than 50 years, people have watched the love story of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Their relationship has been talked about in books, news, and even in secret conversations behind palace walls. But now, something unexpected has happened. Queen Camilla has finally spoken the truth about why she left King Charles. For so long, the world believed they were meant to be together. But things were not as perfect as they seemed. There were hidden problems, painful moments, and secrets that no one knew. Now, after all these years, the truth is out. Something so shocking that it could change everything we thought we knew about the royal family. Inside the royal marriage, speculations and reported tensions. For years, everyone believed that King Charles and Queen Camilla had finally found peace after all the scandals of the past. They stayed together, even when the world doubted them. But behind those grand palace walls, life wasn't the fairy tale people imagined. As time passed, rumors started to spread. Some said they had grown apart. Others whispered that they were just too different. They had lived so long fighting for their love, but once they got it, they realized life together wasn't what they dreamed. Camilla, who once found comfort in Charles's presence, slowly began to feel like a stranger in her own home. Charles wasn't just her husband anymore. He was the king, and that changed everything. His royal duties took most of his time. His heart and mind were always focused on his people, on the environment, or on political matters. Somewhere along the way, Camilla felt left out, almost invisible. She never truly loved the royal protocols. The endless rules, the fake smiles, and the constant public life weren't easy for her. Camilla always loved the countryside, her dogs, and quiet family dinners. But as queen, she was expected to be on display all the time, smiling at people she didn't even know. Slowly, this life began to drain her. On the other hand, Charles was becoming harder to reach. He was deeply absorbed in his work. Even when they were together, his mind seemed to be somewhere else. He grew more demanding, palace insiders claimed. Some days, he was moody and cold. Other days, he was simply too tired to care. Camilla often found herself sitting in silence, wondering where the man she once loved had gone. As the years went by, age caught up with both of them. Their health wasn't the same. Priorities shifted. What once felt like a passionate love story now felt like a heavy burden. Camilla began asking herself, "Is this what I gave up everything for?" The bombshell. Camilla's shocking revelation. Then came the moment no one expected. The shocking revelation that would change everything. After 55 long years of love, heartbreak, and sacrifice, Queen Camilla finally spoke her truth. In a private but emotional interview, Camilla shared the real reason behind her decision to walk away. Her words were simple but powerful. She said, "I realize love is not enough when respect is lost." Those words hit hard. It wasn't anger or hate. It was just the painful truth of a woman who had given everything and gotten nothing in return. Camilla explained how, over the years, their emotional connection slowly faded away. They stopped talking about the things that mattered. There was no more laughter, no more deep conversations. What remained was a cold silence between them. They were living together, but they were worlds apart. She spoke about how Charles had changed. His only focus now was the crown. Every decision he made was about the monarchy, not their marriage. She understood the weight of his duty, but she couldn't help but feel forgotten. She was there, but no one really saw her anymore, not even him. Camilla said something that broke many hearts. "I was a queen, but I felt like a prisoner," she confessed. Imagine wearing the crown, sitting on the throne, but feeling completely alone. That was Camilla's reality. What hurt the most was living in the shadow of Princess Diana. No matter what Camilla did, she was always compared to Diana. The people loved Diana, and in their eyes, Camilla was still the other woman. Even after becoming queen, she couldn't escape Diana's memory. She was always second, first to Diana and then to the royal family itself. In the end, Camilla said she chose peace, not scandal. She wasn't leaving to cause drama or to write a tell-all book. She just wanted to find herself again. She wanted to breathe, to live the rest of her life without pretending. "I am leaving not because I hate him, but because I can't find myself here anymore," she whispered. The royal family's reaction. The news spread like wildfire. Reporters camped outside Buckingham Palace. Cameras flashed. Everyone was waiting for the royal family to speak. But all they got was silence. The palace released a short statement calling it a private family matter. No details, no emotions, just cold royal words. But their silence spoke louder than any speech. Insiders claimed Prince William was furious. After everything, after all the damage control, this was another scandal they didn't need. William always carried the burden of holding the family together, and now this? It felt like another piece of the royal family was falling apart. Prince Harry, who had already distanced himself from the royals, wasn't surprised. To him, this was just proof that royal life was never about love or happiness. It was always about duty, image, and sacrifice. Some sources even said Harry felt a little sorry for Camilla. After all, he knew what it felt like to live in that golden cage. The media didn't waste a second. Headlines screamed, "The end of a royal love story," and "Camilla breaks free from the palace." Social media exploded with opinions. Some people felt sorry for Camilla. For the first time, they saw her as a woman, not a villain. Others blamed her, calling it karma for what happened to Diana. The internet was divided. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just a family issue anymore. It had become a global drama. What this means for King Charles and the monarchy. The impact on King Charles was immediate and deep. People started asking, how can a man rule a kingdom when he can't even save his own marriage? His image, already fragile, took another hit. The whispers about the future of the monarchy grew louder. Would Charles step down sooner than expected? Would this scandal force him to pass the throne to William earlier? These questions filled newspapers and TV screens across the world. Experts said this divorce was bigger than just two people separating. It was about the very heart of the monarchy. In today's world, where people question old traditions, this felt like another reason to doubt the royal family's future. Some even said, if the king can't hold his own home together, how can he hold a nation together? Others wondered if this was a sign that the monarchy itself was slowly dying, stuck in the past and unable to survive in the modern world. Camilla's life after the divorce. What's next? And then, there was Camilla. What happens to a queen who chooses to walk away? Reports say Camilla has no plans to stay in the public eye. She is done with royal life. Done with the endless events, the fake smiles, and the heavy crown. All she wants now is a quiet life. Some insiders shared that Camilla might write a memoir, not to attack anyone, but to tell her story, the real story. After years of being painted as the villain, she finally wants people to hear her side, to know the woman behind the crown. But others say she just wants peace. She dreams of returning to her countryside home, surrounded by her dogs, her horses, and the people she truly loves. No cameras, no titles, just Camilla. In the end, this wasn't just a royal divorce. It was the story of a woman who gave everything, her love, her youth, her reputation, only to realize it wasn't enough. It was a love story that couldn't survive the weight of the crown. Camilla's words, "I was a queen, but I felt like a prisoner," will stay with people for a long time. Because behind all the gold, jewels, and titles, she was just a woman who wanted to be loved, seen, and respected. And maybe, in the end, that's all any of us really want. The truth about Queen Camilla and King Charles has finally been revealed, and it changes everything. After 55 years, the real story is out, one that was hidden behind palace walls for so long. But this might only be the beginning. Who knows what other secrets still remain?
She's gonna be murdered in a car, and nobody done nothing to protect her, because they know they're planning to do what they have done to my son.
Princess Diana's life was not as perfect as it seemed. Behind the fancy dresses and big smiles, she was hiding a painful truth. Before she passed away, she shared shocking things about King Charles, things that many people never knew. She spoke about feeling trapped, lonely, and even scared. She revealed secrets about their marriage, their fights, and the things that happened behind closed doors. What she said was so disturbing that it left many wondering what was really going on inside the royal family. These were not just small problems. They were deep, dark truths that changed the way people saw the man who would one day be king. And once these secrets came out, nothing was ever the same again. Charles's alleged infidelity and emotional abuse. There was always someone else in Princess Diana's marriage. No matter how hard she tried, she could never shake the feeling that Camilla Parker Bowles was always there, lurking in the background. From the very start, Diana felt she was fighting a losing battle for Charles's love and attention. Diana once said something that broke millions of hearts around the world. She said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." That one sentence said it all. She wasn't just married to Charles, she was sharing him. And no woman should have to go through that kind of pain. Diana wasn't crazy. She wasn't imagining things. She knew Charles was having an affair with Camilla, even when everyone around her tried to tell her otherwise. But instead of Charles sitting down and reassuring his young wife, he made it worse. Whenever Diana brought it up, he would gaslight her. He would say things like, "You're paranoid," or "You're imagining it," making her question her own sanity. Can you imagine the man you love turning your deepest fears into a joke? That's exactly what happened to Diana. The emotional damage Charles caused her was massive. He didn't comfort her. He didn't protect her. He left her to deal with it all alone. Diana struggled with bulimia, an eating disorder that took over her life. She once shared that Charles made fun of her weight, pushing her deeper into the illness. Instead of helping, Charles turned away. He laughed at her, called her unstable, and labeled her as the problem in their marriage. Diana was drowning, and Charles stood by watching. He laughed off her pain, told others she was being dramatic, and treated her feelings like they didn't matter. That cold behavior broke Diana from the inside. It made her feel unloved, unwanted, and like a burden. For the world, they looked like the perfect royal couple. But behind closed doors, Diana was fighting a silent war. She was trying to save a marriage that Charles had given up on long ago. No matter what she did, it was never enough because, in the end, his heart belonged to someone else, Camilla. The Tampon-Gate scandal and public humiliation. If Diana had any doubts about Charles's affair, those doubts were crushed when the Tampon-Gate scandal hit the headlines in 1993. The private, intimate phone call between Charles and Camilla was leaked, and the world got to hear just how deep their relationship really was. The conversation was shocking, embarrassing, and humiliating, not just for Charles, but for Diana most of all. In the call, Charles joked about wanting to be reincarnated as Camilla's tampon, words so private and bizarre that even today, they make people uncomfortable. But imagine being Diana, hearing the man you're married to, the future King of England, talk like that to another woman. It wasn't just an affair. It was proof that everything Diana had feared was true. Charles loved Camilla, not her. And now, the whole world knew it. She couldn't hide anymore. She had to smile, wave, and pretend like it was all okay while every newspaper splashed that humiliation on the front page. For Diana, this wasn't just betrayal, it was public execution of her dignity. The royal family stayed silent, as always, leaving Diana to face the world alone. The scandal only made Diana stronger, though. It fueled her desire to speak out, to tell her side of the story. She knew if she stayed quiet, she'd be buried by the lies. The world's opinion of Charles took a huge hit. People couldn't believe the man who was supposed to be their future king could speak that way, act that way, and hurt Diana so deeply. But instead of breaking her, it pushed Diana to fight harder for her truth. Diana's dark predictions and fears before her death. The saddest part of Diana's story is that she knew deep down that her life was in danger. She said it more than once. She was scared that they would kill her. But who was they? The royal family? The press? The people who didn't want her speaking out? In private conversations, Diana shared her fears openly. She once said, "They're going to kill me in a car accident." Those words hit harder now, knowing how she died. It's chilling to think about. It was like she knew what was coming but felt powerless to stop it. There's also the Mishkan note, a letter written down by her lawyer after Diana told him about a plot she feared. She believed someone wanted to tamper with her car brakes or stage a crash. She thought she was being watched, followed, and set up. And the sad part is, nobody really listened. Diana wasn't just scared for herself. She was scared for her sons, William and Harry. She knew that the more she spoke out, the more dangerous it became for her. But still, she didn't stop. She refused to be silenced, even if it cost her everything. Her death left behind so many questions. Did she know too much? Was it really just an accident? Or did someone finally decide that Diana had said enough? Post-divorce explosions. After the divorce, Diana finally started speaking her truth, and the world listened. In 1995, she gave a now-famous interview to BBC Panorama with journalist Martin Bashir. That interview changed everything. Diana didn't hold back. She spoke about Charles's betrayal, about how she was left unprotected by the royal family, and about how lonely she felt. She admitted to her struggles with bulimia and depression, but more importantly, she made it clear that she was never the crazy one. She was the one surviving in an impossible situation. One of the most powerful moments was when Diana said she didn't think Charles was fit to be king. She feared that his actions, his cold heart, and his lack of empathy made him wrong for the role, and millions of people agreed with her. The interview caused an earthquake inside the royal family. Charles's reputation took a massive hit. People couldn't look at him the same way again. The once fairy-tale prince was now seen as a cheating, cold-hearted man who broke the heart of the world's princess. But for Diana, it was more than revenge. It was freedom. For the first time, she was telling her story, her way. And people finally saw the real Diana. Not the royal puppet, but the strong, brave woman fighting for her life. After the interview, Diana's life began to change. She started focusing on humanitarian work, traveling the world, and helping people. She was becoming her own person, no longer just the princess, but a global icon for compassion and courage. Final days, final words. In the last months of her life, Diana seemed different. She was finally breaking free from the royal chains. She found love again, this time with Dodi Fayed, the son of billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. Their relationship raised many eyebrows, especially inside the royal circle. There were whispers that Diana and Dodi were planning something big. Some said she was thinking about moving to the United States, starting a new life far away from the royal family. There were even rumors that she wanted full custody of William and Harry. She didn't want her boys growing up in the same cold world that had destroyed her. Some reports claimed that Diana was planning to reveal more secrets, that she was ready to expose the royal family in a way no one had ever done before. What she knew, what she had seen. It could have shaken the monarchy to its core. But we'll never truly know what Diana was planning because she never got the chance to finish her story. On August 31st, 1997, her life was cut short in a car crash in Paris. And just like that, the world lost its princess. Even today, people wonder, What else did Diana know? What other secrets did she carry with her to the grave? Was her death really just an accident? Or was it something darker? Something more planned? Princess Diana's words left the world shocked, and even today, they raise questions about what really happened behind the palace walls. Her truth changed history, but the full story may never be known. What do you think about the secrets she revealed? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
That Diana, Princess of Wales, who was injured in that accident you've just seen pictured of, has actually died.
The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
The story of King Charles and Princess Diana was once seen as a fairy tale romance, but behind palace doors, it was a whirlwind of heartbreak and betrayal. For years, hidden secrets and scandals shaped their rocky marriage, leaving Diana struggling to find love and support.
Charles has great delivery. I mean, he's practically like a Shakespearean actor.
What really happened between them? This shocking betrayal changed the royal family forever, and it's finally coming to light. Emotional distance. Emotional distance isn't just a relationship challenge. It's a silent betrayal that can cut deeper than words. In the case of King Charles and Princess Diana, their royal marriage was the perfect picture on the outside. But behind the palace walls, emotional distance was tearing them apart. Diana and Charles entered their marriage with high hopes and public adoration, yet they quickly found themselves on separate emotional wavelengths. Diana's vibrant personality and emotional openness clashed with Charles's reserved and duty-driven demeanor. While Diana longed for love, support, and genuine connection, Charles seemed to retreat into his own world, one that included Camilla Parker Bowles. The emotional distance between the couple grew, as Diana felt increasingly isolated. Despite her efforts to connect with Charles, his affection often appeared elsewhere. The betrayal wasn't just about infidelity, it was about the emotional neglect Diana endured while she fought to keep their marriage alive. Charles's inability, or unwillingness to meet her emotional needs, became a wound that never healed. For Diana, this distance wasn't just heartbreaking, it was soul-crushing. Her struggles with bulimia and feelings of worthlessness were amplified by the coldness of her relationship. She later admitted to seeking connection elsewhere, a response to the loneliness she felt within her marriage. What makes this story resonate even today is how relatable it is. Emotional distance isn't confined to royal relationships. Many people have experienced the pain of being in a partnership where they feel unseen, unheard, and unimportant. In Diana's case, her courage to speak out and share her truth shone a light on the emotional battles many people face behind closed doors. Charles's secret betrayal wasn't just his affair. It was the choice to emotionally distance himself from the woman who had once dreamed of building a life with him. The story of Charles and Diana isn't just a royal scandal. It's a reminder that emotional connection is the foundation of any relationship. When that connection is lost, the cracks are impossible to ignore. Camilla Parker Bowles. Affair. Behind the grandeur of the royal family, there's a story that shook the world. The affair between King Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, a betrayal that left Princess Diana heartbroken. Their love triangle wasn't just a royal scandal, it was a devastating chapter in a marriage that was already on shaky ground. From the start, Diana sensed that Camilla was more than just an old friend of Charles. Despite their lavish wedding and the world's attention, Diana often felt like the third wheel in her own marriage. The emotional distance between her and Charles grew, fueled by his unwavering connection to Camilla. The secret affair wasn't just whispers in palace hallways, it was an open secret in royal circles. Diana eventually confronted Camilla at a party, bravely saying, "I know what's going on between you and Charles." Camilla's response? A dismissive retort that only deepened Diana's anguish. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was the emotional bond between Charles and Camilla that left Diana feeling isolated and unloved. Charles's affair with Camilla wasn't just a blow to Diana, it was a seismic event for the monarchy. The revelation of their relationship, combined with Diana's candid interviews, shattered the fairy tale image of the royal couple. Diana's now famous words, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," became a defining moment in their story. What made the betrayal even harder to digest was the perception that Charles had never truly let go of Camilla. For Diana, this wasn't just about losing her husband's love. It was about never truly having it in the first place. The Camilla affair remains a controversial chapter in royal history, but it also serves as a stark reminder of the cost of emotional neglect and betrayal. Diana's pain and bravery in the face of this betrayal left a lasting legacy, one that continues to captivate the world. Diana's confrontation. The royal marriage that once seemed like a fairy tale turned into one of the most heartbreaking and scandalous sagas in history. Princess Diana, known for her grace and charm, was blindsided by the betrayal of her husband, Prince Charles. But what happened when Diana finally confronted the woman at the center of it all? Camilla Parker Bowles? The dramatic moment is something the world never forgot. In the late 1980s, Diana's suspicions about Charles and Camilla's ongoing affair reached a boiling point. The emotional distance between Diana and Charles had grown too wide to ignore, and the rumors about their relationship were swirling in the media. But what could Diana do? The pain of knowing her husband was in love with someone else became unbearable, and Diana decided to take matters into her own hands. The infamous confrontation took place during a birthday party for Camilla's sister, Annabelle Elliott, and it was nothing short of explosive. Diana, her heart heavy with anger and sorrow, looked directly at Camilla and said, "I know what's going on between you and Charles." The tension in the room was palpable, and Diana's voice echoed with the rawness of her pain. Camilla's response was cold, dismissive, and utterly callous. She said, "You've got everything you ever wanted. A handsome husband, 2 beautiful children. What more could you want?" Diana's simple yet devastating reply left everyone stunned. "I want my husband." The conversation laid bare the emotional turmoil that had been eating away at Diana. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was about her unfulfilled yearning for a connection with Charles. But that connection had long been lost. Diana's confrontation with Camilla revealed just how far Charles's emotional neglect had gone. It also revealed how powerless Diana felt in her own marriage, even as the world watched her every move. Her bravery in confronting the woman who had stolen her husband's heart only made the betrayal more poignant. This moment of truth would go on to shape Diana's legacy, forever remembered as a symbol of strength, courage, and heartbreak. Public confessions. The royal family's dirty laundry was never meant to be aired in public. But when Prince Charles and Princess Diana's troubled marriage started unraveling, the world was forced to watch every heart-wrenching detail unfold. The most shocking part? Both Charles and Diana made public confessions that revealed just how deep the betrayal ran. In 1994, Prince Charles shocked the world by admitting in an interview with Jonathan Dimbleby that he had indeed been unfaithful to Diana. In his own words, he admitted the affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, acknowledging that his marriage to Diana had irretrievably broken down. This was an unprecedented moment of honesty, especially from a royal figure, and it sent waves of shock through the public. For years, the rumors had swirled, but hearing Charles admit his betrayal publicly left no room for doubt. But the shock didn't end there. A year later, Princess Diana took to the BBC's Panorama interview to reveal her side of the story. In a candid and emotional confession, Diana spoke openly about her unhappiness within the royal family, her struggles with bulimia, and the emotional toll the marriage had taken on her. She even confessed to her own infidelity, admitting she had sought comfort outside her marriage after years of emotional neglect. One of the most memorable moments in her interview was her comment about the 3 of us in the marriage, referring to Camilla's ongoing relationship with Charles. Her words echoed the pain she had felt for years, having been pushed to the sidelines of her own marriage, while Camilla was always at the center of her husband's heart. These public confessions were a rare and shocking glimpse into the deeply troubled relationship between Charles and Diana. They painted a picture of 2 people trapped in a loveless marriage, each desperately seeking solace elsewhere. The revelations not only shattered the illusion of royal perfection, but also revealed just how far emotional neglect and betrayal can go, even within the walls of Buckingham Palace. Diana's struggles for years. Princess Diana was the picture of grace, beauty, and charm, always smiling in front of the cameras, a true people's princess. But behind that captivating smile, Diana was silently battling a storm of emotional struggles. The betrayal by Prince Charles and the constant heartbreak of his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles became an unspoken burden that weighed heavily on her. Diana's life within the royal family was far from the fairy tale many believed it to be. She found herself in a loveless marriage where her husband, Prince Charles, seemed emotionally distant. As the public continued to adore them as a perfect couple, Diana was left grappling with feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, and pain. Her constant battle with emotional neglect pushed her into a deep spiral, and it wasn't long before her struggles with bulimia and self-harm became part of her personal reality. But the most agonizing part? Prince Charles's affair with Camilla. Diana had always suspected something was wrong, and her worst fears were confirmed when the affair became public knowledge. While the world admired Diana for her grace, few could understand the profound hurt she felt in her personal life. She was fighting not only for her marriage, but for her own self-worth. Diana even admitted in interviews that her relationship with Charles was a bit crowded, a cryptic but clear reference to Camilla's constant presence in their lives. Diana's confession of her struggles was a turning point in her life. In her explosive interview with the BBC in 1995, she didn't hold back. Diana shared the truth about her pain, her fight with bulimia, and even her emotional breakdowns. Her courage to speak out, to expose the truth, was a pivotal moment in her life. But despite everything, Diana always longed for one thing: love and affection from her husband, something Charles never fully gave her. Diana's heartbreaking story is one of silent strength, the battle for love, and the pain of betrayal. Her struggles remain a poignant reminder of the human side of royalty and the cost of emotional neglect. Media scrutiny. Princess Diana's life was constantly under the watchful eye of the media, but the scrutiny she faced went beyond mere headlines. It was relentless, invasive, and at times downright cruel. As her marriage with Prince Charles unraveled, the media played a huge role in exposing the secrets that the royal family tried so hard to keep hidden. But what many didn't realize was that the public's obsession with their troubled marriage only made things worse for Diana, especially when Charles's secret betrayal was finally laid bare. For years, Diana had been painted as the innocent, wronged party in her marriage to Charles. But the truth of her suffering went far deeper than the media could ever understand. As the press began to catch wind of Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, the tabloids and gossip columns were quick to sensationalize every detail. The media didn't just report the facts. They took pleasure in adding their own twists, often portraying Diana as a broken woman. Every move she made was scrutinized, every tear she shed dissected. But it wasn't just Diana who was affected. The public's fascination with her pain spilled over into the royal family, and suddenly, Charles's betrayal was a matter of public interest. The media did not hold back in exposing the affair and the emotional turmoil that came with it. They painted Charles as a man who had failed his wife and his country, and painted Diana as the victim, a woman deserving of sympathy and support. While the public followed every twist and turn of the royal drama, the media failed to recognize the emotional toll this constant scrutiny had on Diana. She was not just a princess or a symbol of hope for the British people. She was a human being, struggling in ways that no headline could fully capture. The media's relentless coverage of Diana's marriage and Charles's secret betrayal finally forced the truth into the open, but it also led to an invasion of her privacy that would haunt her for the rest of her life. In the end, while the public may have been captivated by the royal drama, Diana's personal pain was far more complex than the tabloids could ever portray. Queen Elizabeth's intervention. The royal family has always prided itself on maintaining a strong, united front. But the cracks in Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage were becoming impossible to ignore. While the world watched their relationship fall apart behind the scenes, Queen Elizabeth II was quietly stepping in to restore order and bring an end to the chaos. Her intervention, though discreet, would prove to be a game-changer in the scandal that rocked the monarchy. For years, Queen Elizabeth had remained relatively silent about her son's marriage woes. However, as public interest in the royal drama grew, and Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles was exposed for the world to see, the Queen could no longer stay on the sidelines. Despite her usual preference for privacy, Queen Elizabeth's role in the royal family meant she had to act, especially when it came to preserving the dignity and image of the monarchy. In 1995, the situation reached a boiling point. Charles had publicly admitted to his infidelity during an explosive interview, and the marriage was beyond saving. That's when the Queen decided to take a bold step. According to reports, she wrote a personal letter to Diana.
And he, Lord Mountbatten was probably the closest person to him, and Diana said to him, "You look so sad,"
urging her to grant an early divorce from Charles. This letter was not just an official royal request. It was a motherly plea for Diana to help bring closure to the marriage. Queen Elizabeth's intervention was carefully worded, emphasizing that it was in the best interest of the country and the royal family. She even signed the letter with "Love from Mama," a gesture that showed her genuine concern for Diana's well-being. While it was clear the Queen wanted to protect the family's image, the letter also showed her emotional understanding of the situation. By stepping in, Queen Elizabeth sought to end the public spectacle, and bring peace to the fractured royal family.
To marry into the royal family and to become a future queen.
Her intervention helped pave the way for the eventual divorce between Charles and Diana in 1996. However, the betrayal Charles had inflicted on Diana would never be forgotten, and the royal family's efforts to restore their reputation were ultimately overshadowed by the lasting emotional damage caused by the affair. Divorce and aftermath. The divorce between Prince Charles and Princess Diana was not just the end of a marriage, it was the dramatic conclusion to years of tension, public humiliation, and heartbreak. After the media frenzy and public revelations about Prince Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, the royal couple finally called it quits in 1996. But the aftermath was far from a simple split. The impact of their divorce rippled through the royal family, the public, and even the press. For Princess Diana, the divorce marked a new chapter in her life. Despite the heartache, she handled the situation with a resilience that made her an even more beloved figure. However, the scars of her marriage were deep. Diana's struggles with self-esteem, mental health, and public image continued long after the legal documents were signed. Her need for love and affection, which had been ignored during her marriage, left her searching for solace in other relationships. Prince Charles, on the other hand, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief after the divorce. He was now free to pursue his relationship with Camilla openly, something that had been hidden for years. Despite the relief, his actions didn't come without consequence. The royal family was under scrutiny more than ever, as the public's trust in the monarchy began to wane. What followed was a bittersweet phase for both Charles and Diana. The divorce, while offering a sense of freedom, didn't mend the emotional wounds that had been inflicted over years of betrayal and emotional distance. The royal family's attempts to appear unified couldn't mask the rift that had grown. Despite the personal and public battles, both Charles and Diana carried the emotional weight of their broken marriage. In the end, Charles and Diana's divorce was a turning point for the monarchy, exposing hidden betrayals and pushing the royal family into a new era of scrutiny and transparency. Their story may have ended legally, but the emotional consequences of their troubled union lingered long after. Charles's tribute. After years of public scrutiny, betrayal, and a bitter divorce, King Charles's tribute to Princess Diana at her funeral took everyone by surprise. His unexpected gesture spoke volumes about their complicated relationship and left the world questioning what truly lay beneath the surface of their tumultuous marriage. The relationship between Charles and Diana was far from perfect, filled with emotional distance, infidelity, and heartbreak. Yet, despite all the drama and the affairs, including his well-known love for Camilla Parker Bowles, Charles's tribute to Diana at her funeral gave a glimpse of a deeper connection. While much of their marriage had been marked by tension and separations, his final act of respect suggested that he still held a certain regard for the woman who had been by his side for so many years. At Diana's funeral, Charles made a quiet but powerful statement by choosing to wear a navy suit instead of the traditional black mourning attire. To many, this might have seemed like a simple wardrobe choice. However, it had much more significance. Diana had always loved seeing Charles in navy, and this tribute, though subtle, was a poignant nod to their shared history. Was this Charles's way of showing that, despite all the pain and betrayal, he had a deep respect for Diana's legacy? Some royal watchers believed it was his way of acknowledging the tumultuous years of their marriage, filled with love, loss, and ultimately, profound sadness. Others speculated that it was an attempt to make amends for the betrayals that had stained their relationship over the years, offering a final, personal tribute to the woman who had once been the love of his life. Charles's tribute to Diana raised many questions, leaving the public wondering if there were feelings and regrets that he had never fully expressed during their marriage. While his actions couldn't undo the past, they did offer a glimpse of the complex emotions he may have carried for the rest of his life. Diana's legacy. Princess Diana's legacy continues to shape the world. Even long after her tragic death, her story was one of immense love, devastating betrayal, and unimaginable strength. But behind her iconic public image, there lay a deeply personal story that was often overshadowed by the royal family's secrecy and the scandals surrounding her marriage to Prince Charles. The world watched in disbelief as Diana's marriage to Charles crumbled under the weight of emotional distance, public scrutiny, and Charles's enduring relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles. While Charles's betrayal was widely known, Diana's resilience and unwavering spirit were what truly defined her. But what often gets overlooked in the shadows of these betrayals is how Diana's impact still ripples through the royal family and beyond. Even after the divorce, Diana's influence remained powerful, especially on her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Diana's advocacy for causes like HIV/AIDS awareness, her work with landmine victims, and her campaign for mental health awareness changed the way the world viewed royalty. She gave voice to the voiceless and used her platform for good, making her the people's princess in every sense of the word. Charles's betrayal of Diana was deeply damaging, not just to their relationship, but also to the monarchy's image. Yet, her legacy outshone the controversies that defined much of her marriage. Her charitable work, her warmth, and her relatability connected her with people worldwide, unlike any royal before her. In the aftermath of her death, Charles's tribute at her funeral and his decision to wear navy instead of traditional mourning black sent a signal to the world that there was more to their relationship than what had been publicly revealed. It was as if Charles was finally recognizing the woman Diana had been, and the profound effect she had on his life. Diana's legacy lives on not just in the charity work she championed, but in the lives of her children and in the hearts of millions who still remember her with love.